I own currently 3 BMWs. I have a V8 swapped E30, I have a Touring E30, and then I have a Touring 5 Series. I never was into BMWs to begin with. I've always been kind of a racer at heart with Hondas and a bunch of other cars. My first car ever was a 1999 Mercury Cougar that I slammed on cut springs. I had a cherry bomb muffler that was attached with coat hanger wire, and I had like a big ricey wing on it, and I thought I was like king shit. Crashed it a couple times trying to learn how to drive manual. I bought it thinking I could drive manual, and I couldn't, and I stalled it at every red light I possibly could, and I pissed off like all of Burlington with that car. And then moved from there, I moved into Hondas. I had a couple hatchbacks, I had a Prelude. I blew it up, and then I spent a lot of money on it, which I shouldn't have, but at the time I thought it was super cool, and I had a full-time job, I was living at home, so I didn't care. And that turned into like some crazy like 500 horsepower, single turbo, like big, crazy car nonsense. And blew it up, sold it. It got parted a second time, ended up at a scrapyard. I bought it back and then sold it again. So that was a pretty crazy trip on that one. And then I ended up buying my first E30 from my buddy Ryan Chan. He had it, he drifted it into a wall at a college. So the back end was caved in. I bought it for 300 bucks at his house. It didn't run. The shifter bushings were gone. The diff was welded like really badly. It had holes in the floors. Half the brakes didn't work. The shifter was screwed. The transmission was screwed. Some guy bought it for 100 bucks just to cut into a pickup truck. He actually still owns it now, and it has a 4 liter or 5 liter V8 in it now. But I moved on to the car that you see behind me, which is my drift car, if it ever runs. It's got a 4.4 V8 out of a 540i with a 6-speed transmission. It's got full polyurethane bushings front to back, welded subframe, welded diff. The diff was originally LSD, but I don't trust LSDs in the BMW, so I welded it anyways. It's got a full 6-point cage, harnesses, harness bar, E46 front control arms, lollipop bushings, all that stuff. The engine itself also has a Pro Tune from DUDMD Tuning, so big shout out to those guys for hooking me up. It's got EWS delete, OBD2 port, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm probably forgetting. It's got E46 coilovers in it, and you can check those out on my YouTube channel on how to do that, because I know a lot of you guys want to know how to do that. In terms of like mechanical background, I have zero. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't even use a fucking hammer. And I used to just watch YouTube after YouTube video, which kind of is what got me onto making my own YouTube videos, because a lot of the stuff that I was trying to Google and figure out how to do, people weren't doing it, so I had no way of knowing how to do it, so I kind of just threw myself into that situation, which definitely left me on the side of the road quite a few times, and it's been a stepping stone in terms of what I know now and what I know not to do now, and I just enjoy it to the point where I like to do it more than I actually work in my own job, so it's becoming a bit of an obsession, but it's one that I personally feel like it'll stick with me probably for the rest of my life. And if you guys enjoy it too, just do it. Who cares what your friends say? Just do it. For the drift car, honestly, I don't know why I built it. I bought the car. I found my buddy Nav saw the car on the side of the road and was like, hey man, I heard you were looking for an E30 and I found this one and it looks perfect for you. So I met the guy. He came down, he was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to sell it. And I was like, okay, perfect, how much do you want? And he was like, oh, I want 1,200. And I was like, no. And then he was like, well, what do you mean no? And I'm like, I'm not paying you 1,200 bucks. And then we kind of talked back and forth for a little bit. And then I went to get in my car and then he kind of was like, yo, okay, like, and then he lowered it down to 600 bucks. So bought it, left my car there, bolted my plates onto it, and then I just drove it home. And then I came back from my car later and I got about maybe 3 blocks away and the car overheated. So I ended up taking my plates back off, putting them on my actual car, and then getting it towed. Yeah, so the Touring you see behind me, it was a bit of a impulse buy in terms of, like, I didn't need it, but I just saw it. It was a good price, and I said, fuck it, why not? So I bought it, and ever since then I haven't really looked back, and I haven't really looked forwards with the car either, because I've had a lot of other things to do. So it's kind of been sitting on the back burner. It runs and drives, it stops, it does everything a car should do, but it needs some love in some certain areas, so I'm definitely probably going to send it out to get painted. I'm going to fix all the body in terms of like rust and some other small areas. Right now it's just going to kind of sit where it is, and then I'll eventually get to it when I have time, but you know, we'll see when that happens.